Hi, going over the belt exam for the green belt. My option was D. So it's basically to create a poll where or make a page where you can create polls and add them. Um, so my table looks like that. I don't feel like opening Workbench right now, but it looks exactly like that. This is okay. So here's the finished product. The main page is called index.php, and I have it set up so you can vote on any of these polls. However, if you vote without choosing one of these radio inputs, it will give you an error. You did not select an option. It'll continue to do that until you actually select something, and then it will log the result right here. So if I were to choose another one, then it would say 50%. And then if I choose third one, evenly split 33%, 25%, and then so on and so forth. If I want to add a poll, I can do so over here. If I were to type something here and did not put a description, it will not let me add the poll. It'll give me an error saying that the poll has to have a description. If I were to leave them all blank, this gives the errors. So if any of the options are empty, it will say you must create 4 options for this poll. And then if you hit cancel, it'll just take you back to the poll page. So let's actually try to add a poll. And as you can see, it added this poll which wasn't there before, and it echoes the ID over here as well. Okay, so now to go through the code. So the new connection page is identical to the one that was provided for us, with one minor exception. In the fetch queries, both record and all, I made this if statement, which basically prevents it from throwing some weird PHP error if the array is empty, if there's nothing in the database. Yeah. And then over here, oh yeah, and I also associated it with Greenbelt, which is the name of the SQL database that I included. So this is the main page. Session start requires new connection. This is the part that echoes the errors, if there are any. Okay, so this is where I put the button to point to add poll, to the add poll.php, which lets you add a poll. And then the rest of this is basically what goes through the database and echoes out all the code necessary to print out the polls. So over here, I basically use this query right here to get all the polls, and then this for each loop echoes out this HTML code, and this HTML code is a form within a div within a div. I give them classes so I can style them in CSS later. Basically, the way I did it was I typed out the HTML code outside the PHP tags, the way I wanted it to look. And when I was happy with it, I put it within the echo tags and separated it like that. So that's how it looks. And then concatenate every so often to add in the variables that I want. This is where I put the name of the poll, description of the poll, or no, sorry, this is the ID right here, that post on the right hand side. And then this is the description. And then this is a hidden value, which allows me to refer to it later when I submit, or when I submit an option. And so over here is where I echo the options. And so over here I echoed the IDs for the option and then the option name as well. So that's the part that creates this over here. This is a for each. These are the result of a for each loop. So yeah, as you can see, it totally works. I ran into two issues. One of them was, or maybe if I had more time, I for sure could have figured it out. But I basically, in my process page, oh yeah, this is where all the errors are and whatnot. Sorry, make that three issues. So one of them was that I couldn't figure out if whether or not you wanted more than 4 options, because over here it says make sure there are at least 4 options. And so I just built the whole thing with the assumption that there are only 4 options and you have to have exactly 4 options. I could have figured out how to maybe add more, but I would have had to add another submit button to say add extra options, or I believe so. And then over here, because I didn't want to waste time, and this is the second problem, because I didn't want to waste time getting a for each loop to work, I basically inserted each option manually. So I made a query for each option, 1, 2, 3, and 4, which made it easier to debug efficiently, because otherwise, yeah, I don't think I could finish on time. And then the third problem that I ran into was it was just kind of like last minute when I made the error message in process. Okay, this error message right here where it says you did not select an option. I couldn't figure out how to unset those because initially I had it like this, and then in my index page underneath the part where I set the session error, I said unset session error, which basically allows it to remove all the errors when you refresh the page. But what it would do is when it would go back from process, it just wouldn't display the error because it would unset it. And so at first I didn't put unset over here in the if empty post opt, and so it would just keep appending to it. And so I just added it here, so if you keep clicking submit without selecting anything, it won't display it multiple times. But if you refresh it, it'll stay there until you do select something and submit. So those are the 3 problems I had. And then this is just some code down here to make sure if someone maliciously navigates to process, it'll just take them back to index and kill process. Yeah, so this is where all my error messages are. And then I used else if statements for the options so that it didn't give you one for each empty option. And then over here is where I said if there's an error, I'd go back to add poll and die, and then else execute all these queries. And thankfully I had some time at the end, so I added all this escape string, which is in our new connection as well at the bottom. So to prevent MySQL injection. So that is my green belt exam, and hopefully it works on your computer the same way it worked on mine.